Aloha everyone, I'm Jack Soren. We're on the North Shore of Oahu at the DaHui Backdoor Shootout surf contest. I'm stoked to be here because I got to design not one but two different surf posters for two different events. Alright, hold up. Before we even get into the contest days, I gotta tell you how I even got here in the first place. Alright, so the first contest I was gonna run is the Eddie Cow. And then the second contest, a few weeks later, is the DaHui Backdoor Shootout. And one's at, the Eddie Cow is at Waimea Bay, which, in order for that contest to even run, the waves have to be 20 plus. Conditions have to be almost perfect in order for the bay to even break and the surfers to even get clean waves. So that's one of the cool parts about Waimea Bay. It's just big wave surfing, and it's such a novelty because the bay only breaks at those conditions. And then the second contest is the DaHui Backdoor Shootout at Pipeline, and that's one of the most unique waves in the world just based on the barrel shape and how big it gets and the reef bottom below. And the way the waves come in and hit that reef bottom just pitches over and really just shapes what you see during the contest. And they're really both heavy waves that you need to know how to power surf in order to survive, basically. We're going to be talking about the process with how we designed the art and what was inspiring to us during that process. And then second, we're going to be talking about how we worked with the event organizers and the brands involved in these events. And then third, we're talking about how crazy it is to see the artwork come alive when the contests run. During the winter swell on the North Shore of 2023, Rip Curl had reached out to discuss a few design opportunities with my artwork, and I was already stoked that Rip Curl was reaching out. I haven't worked with them as a surf company yet, and so I was already excited, and I went out and met them and the squad at their pipe house they were renting on the North Shore, watching some of the contests, and they told me about something even more exciting that I really couldn't believe I was hearing, and that was that they were going to be hosting the Eddie Cow Big Wave Surf event at Waimea Bay for the next couple years. And for me, I was in an opportunity to then pitch myself. I was in a conversation and be like, hey, what do you think of me doing some type of design work for the event? I would love to be able to participate with this. And luckily enough, they said yes. So for me, a kid growing up on the North Shore who've always wanted to be a professional surfer, to have an opportunity to participate and create artwork for such an amazing contest that I probably would never even be able to surf in, that felt like a big win for me, and I found my own authentic way to that podium in the art world. After I met with the Rip Curl guys, a few weeks later, I went to the DaHui Backdoor Shootout at Pipeline to watch some of my friends compete. And while we were there, I reconnected with a lot of old family and friends of the club. My late father and uncle were a part of the origins of the DaHui club back in the day, and really put in a lot of time and talent to help the club become what it is now. And so for me, that was a big full circle moment to meet up with some of those longtime family friends. And then I ended up showing one of my uncles my artwork during the contest and be like, hey, look, I'm in a position now that I'm pretty confident with my style and my work that I'd love to make designs for the club. With anything you might need during the year, just feel free to hit me up. Again, I pitched myself to, be of service in some type of way, and they were like, yeah, well, we got a couple events coming up, we'll hit you up and we'll discuss more, but I think the DaHui Backdoor Shootout next year would be amazing if you did it. And that's the second moment within a few weeks where I was like, what? This is awesome. Two of the most iconic North Shore surf events, I got to do the design work for both of them. So that was really special for me, and a full circle moment from being a Grom, living on the North Shore, knowing what the Eddie Cow contest meant to us, and knowing what the DaHui meant to me and my family, I just felt like I was on cloud 9, dreams come true. The Eddie Aikau Big Wave Surf event at Waimea Bay is in honor of Eddie Aikau, who is a local surf hero and legend who charged Waimea before anyone else was surfing it. During his lifeguard breaks, they would go out and surf with no leashes, their big boards, and just go for it. And people around North Shore were like, what? This is crazy. We haven't seen this type of surfing. And these were just bradas doing what they wanted to do during their surf break. Like, let's go just jump in real quick on a plus 20-foot swell. That's not just jumping in real quick. That's insane. So that's the gravity of like who Eddie was, charging big waves. Everything about him really inspired us as kids to go for it, go big, and do our best and be pono in everything we do. And the DaHui Backdoor Shootout is in memory of Duke Kahanamoku, another surf legend. They were both pioneers in their own ways. One big wave surfer, and one was just that symbol of aloha and bringing that our surfing culture throughout the world. So as I'm designing using the aesthetic I chose, I think about these surfers and who they were as people and try to take that same energy and put it into the poster work. So after we had discussions about the potential of creating artwork, a few weeks later we jumped on emails and started discussing the timeline of when these designs need to get done. And one of the crazy things is that it takes almost a year to a year and a half to get all those materials and different products through to be ready for those contests. And all that work done to get those pieces ready, those pieces might not ever see the light of day because of one thing, and that's if the contest even runs or not. Based on the wave swells, the weather, Mother Nature could shut us all down that week and the waves be flat. So if there's no waves, there's no contest. What's gonna happen to those products? Usually those products either get repurposed or reused, or merch is still sold in honoring of the event, but no event. So it's pretty crazy investment for any brand or business, because Mother Nature's in control at that point. So it's a wild way of designing, but and I think that's the cool part of both contests actually running, because on the weeks of their holding periods, the waves were pumping and the conditions were perfect for them. After we've discussed some of the design details and timelines around the projects, I get right to work in the studio, thinking about concepts, looking for inspiration. And one of the aesthetics that I was going for these events was kind of a 2000s, early 2000s surf era where there's a lot of stipple work, there's grains and gradients and neon colors, different fun, sharp shapes, a lot of cool retro vibes to what surf graphics were. Did I do any research for designing artwork based on the North Shore? No. Because why I say that is that growing up here, I've researched almost everything I need to know from just living here, and that's one of the beneficial things of being able to create for my community, from my community. Growing up on the North Shore, it's high intense power surfing. The whole world comes to the North Shore because in the wintertime there's a special energy along the whole coastline of where we live, and the waves bring that energy, the swell brings that energy, and then it draws all of us to the ocean more. And so understanding that high intensity, fast lifestyle, seeing all the surf graphics over my lifetime, it was pretty easy to come up with a design concept for this. It's just my natural environment. Doesn't mean there's not, and that doesn't mean there's, no obstacles that I run into. There's definitely obstacles. There's always a design blocks or something that we gotta move around, but it felt naturally to create from authenticity and also respect those who are respect those who the contests are in memory of. The materials I use to get this work done is my iPad and my laptop at the moment. I use Procreate and other designing apps like Adobe Illustrator in order to come up with my concepts, get my color palettes all figured out, and do a lot of my rough drafts, and then putting it into Adobe Illustrator to then vector everything and make them ready for print and post. After a lot of my design concepts are drawn out and I have a pretty good idea of the direction I want the design to go, I then send that over to the different brands and event organizers and even the families. It's a lot of pressure that hopefully I nail it, because there's a lot of respect, there's a lot of things to take in consideration when doing an event poster in homage to someone, right? So I send off my emails with my drafts and everything, just hoping they like it, and guess what? They loved it. They thought that it represented everything well that they were doing, the brand aesthetics, the event, and it also provided like a new way of looking at surfing with my unique style that I've developed. So they loved it. I was stoked, and let me tell you, it's not always like that. How many times I had to strike out in other projects in order to get it right is more often than you would think. But when you get one home run off the first draft design, you're a happy designer. One of the cool things that I love about both of these events is their opening ceremony, right? There's Hawaiian protocol that's used. There's different representations of culture and displays of history, and some of Eddie's gear and his surfboards and his shorts on display. And so that opening ceremony is really spiritual, and it really invites a spirit of protection. It invites big waves. It invites all the different things that we as Hawaiians believe in our process with holding events and different gatherings. And it's pretty insane when you see everything come together. Like, for the Eddie to run, I think it's only been 5 times that the contest actually ran throughout my 30 years of life. And it's scheduled every year. And it's really special that the first year that we get to make the artwork for it, it runs. Like, you're always anticipating that, as well as like, okay, we waited a whole year long, we have all the materials, is it gonna run? And sure enough, we got the green light on the Saturday night. That Sunday morning, it's on. The waves are cherry, it's good conditions, the winds are looking good, and we get the green light. So showing up that next morning, I gotta tell you about that. The contest days are insane. That energy that I talked about is alive and well, and you just feel it when you're around the waves and around the people. Everyone's excited to watch the surfers. I see a lot of my friends going out with their jerseys, going to compete. It's just unlike anything else you could experience, at that live event. And what's even cooler is just to see the artwork up on the scaffolding, up on the TV screens, on the live stream, on the merch. It's just everywhere, and that's when the artwork comes alive. After a year to a year and a half designing, making all those different adjustments, being really patient for an impatient person, to wait a whole year for something to finally see it come to life, it honestly just makes it that much sweeter because of that anticipation. Boom, you're on the beach and it's just popping off. So first contest to run is the Eddie Cow. I show up, it's a rainy morning, and usually we'd think that rain isn't preferred, but in Hawaii we see rain as a good omen, that we're being blessed by these showers, and it ended up being one of the most insane events that day. Thousands and thousands of people show up as early as the night before to a few days before, camping over to reserve their spot. I got there around 6 and parked at my friend's house down the street and walked over, and there were just mass amounts of people just walking to Waimea Bay, and get down to the sand, it's already packed and it's dark, and you just kind of weaving your way through. I finally make it to the event area and get my credentials, see a lot of my friends who are competing in the contest, and, you know, hanging out with them, shaking hands, and just really living my dream that morning. And it's just in awe with, we're here, we did it, like, we made this happen. And so I'm on cloud nine the whole morning, just really taking it all in, and feeling that spirit that's there, the energy of the bay and the people, and we just enjoy the contest at that point, just watching guys catch massive waves, crazy wipeouts, all of it, all the action, jet skis flying, saving guys so they don't get hit by the whitewash. It's really impressive how the Hawaiian Water Patrol can really maneuver those jet skis. The other rad part of everything lining up is that my friend Landon McNamara happened to win the Eddie Cow, and it's just dope for me to create the artwork and then the homies win the contest. And it's just really cool for all of us to celebrate that win. You know, we're winning on multiple realms, and it's just, everything fell into place perfectly this winter. So a few weeks later, we have the DaHui Backdoor Shootout happening in January. And that one was a lot of fun because I was activated, signing posters under the merch tent, handing out shirts that were on sale, helping the team, watching my friends compete, and just being a part of that kind of inner circle to see all the behind the scenes of the event as well. And that's something that I geek out on, is like, how do they organize where the contest participants go for their check-ins and sign-ins? How does the scaffolding work? How does all the computers and different film guys work? So it's really cool for me to kind of have that behind the scenes look at what's going on. And I was just having a blast hanging out in the tent with Jack Jermaine and Cole Rothmanʻs and all the rest of our homies there, filming, getting clips, and just taking it all in. The waves were epic. Guys were getting so barreled that there was clips on clips on clips, and just cameras rolling, and you can just hear the shutter just really cool to be in that moment. And it's just really fun to be in that energy with the people all gathered, and knowing the spirit that's brought there, and the high intensity surfing. And it was just a blast. And I couldn't help to think about my dad and my uncle while I was at the Backdoor Shootout, and how I was able to honor them by including two surfers on the poster surfing these waves. And that just represented them as brothers sharing the waves that they really enjoyed growing up on the North Shore as well. So it's pretty special for me to include them and see things come full circle. Thinking back on the contest and reflecting now on how it all went, I'm just in awe. Like, to realize your dreams and see them come to life in front of your face and see it all happen is one of the greatest rewards. You know, years from being a 15-year-old kid dreaming about the day to design for companies like Rip Curl, or to see your artwork posted up on the North Shore for these amazing surf events. Like, it actually happened. And those 15 years of working really hard finally paying off. Like, keep shooting for your goals. It might take that long, it might take sooner, but it happens, it works out. Stay tuned for more videos like these. Subscribe and hit that bell notification so that these videos pop up when I upload them, and that you can see them right away. So thanks for watching. Stoked to talk about more. You guys want to see some bloopers?
That's perfect.
You guys want to see our situation right here? This is our current setup. Tripod, camera not on tripod. I got the Osmo working for me. Just send it, just go for it. You don't need all the fancy kind all the time. You just make them work. Get the beach chair set up. Cherry. Alright everyone, welcome back to a new episode of What the Going On. I don't even remember what the line was. Can you say it again? Design, and some of the design to kind of get it right on the first hit. Gonna keep rolling through and reshoot it if I need to. Some of the craziest barrels on the planet. Craziest barrels in the world. One of the craziest barrels in one of the world's most gnarliest waves. And some of the craziest wipeouts. And some of the wildest wipeouts that even hurt just watching it. And some of the gnarliest wipeouts that hurt. And some of the gnarliest wipeouts that hurt even just watching it to the eyes of the people. That's weird. I don't know. And the artwork got to see the light of day. Whatever. And it was cool to see all the banners. Oh, I guess we could. I don't know. Right. So the third. I'm just gonna keep rolling. And another one of my. Okay, well, I'm just gonna start this. That can sound. Why am I talking about that? Sure, whatever. Okay. What? To explain it to you all, I got 3 different things to break down. To break it out. Have a opportunity to work on this contest. Good luck, Hunter. Grab what's good in this clip. Some of the work I did over the years. Pretty neat. That was it. That was the one. I'm done for the night. I'm uploading this. I'm cooked. That's a lot of YouTube for one day. Stay tuned for more. Stoked to show you all these awesome Stay tuned for more.